Fermi Ayolade, born in Nigeria, but I was brought up here in the UK.
Joshua Otialo, brought up in London.
Anu Ashekun, I was originally born in Nigeria and I've been brought up in Manchester.
My name is Joala Duro. I was born in Hamburg, Germany, and I came to the UK when I was 8 years old.
Chizaram Egbiziem, and I grew up in London.
Oyinda Sola Oladimeji, and I was brought up in Lagos, Nigeria.
Moyosore Oluwa Jordan Ajibade. I was born in London, grew up in Essex.
Toluwalashe Asolo. I was born in Ireland, I grew up in Nigeria, and I'm currently studying in the UK.
James Sorelli, and I was brought up in Surrey.
Sylvia Kalonda Katange. I grew up in Cardiff and I grew up in Surrey.
Yeah, my name is Philip Abbo, born in Nigeria, lived in Aberdeen, Scotland, London, Kent, and currently in Manchester.
Michael Rufai, from London.
Jesse Benedict Reku Jamie, grew up in East London all my life.
Yes.
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 Yes, I have.
Yes.
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 Yes, I have.
Of course, like countless times.
Yes, of course.
Most definitely.
Sick.
Distraught.
Aggravated.
Heartbroken.
Tired.
Distressed. Very distressed.
Outraged.
Disappointed but not surprised.
Angry.
Disgusted.
Angry.
Enraged.
Numb. Very numb.
People feeling the need to touch my hair like we're in a petting zoo, being labelled the angry black girl every time someone does something that actually warrants you being angry. People saying you're pretty for a black girl, like all those backhanded compliments. It might not seem like much because they're not saying the actual N-word to your face, but it is a lot. It is a big act of racism.
A white man, quite old, came up to me and he was like, "Oh my goodness, you are beautiful for a coloured woman." He seemed genuine, but the fact that he used coloured was incredibly uncomfortable.
People clutching their purses as you walk past, locking their vehicles as you walk past, crossing the road as they see you approach.
When I was working part-time at a pharmacy and a customer was really angry, and yeah, he said a lot of racist things.
The substitute politics teacher was walking past us and he was like, "Whoa," and he was like, "Oh," he was scared and he was like, "Oh, sorry, my bad." And we're like, "What are you trying to imply?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm not trying to say you guys look scary or anything. Why are you all of a sudden scared walking past us?" And he started to stutter and he started walking away.
The most recent one had to be whilst I was at uni. I was walking down the road with a friend and a man walked past and called us dirty fucking niggers, and we should go back to where we came from.
I realised after applying to my first 2 or 3 jobs that when I used my African name, which is Moyo, it either got rejected or I didn't get any news back from them. But when I started using my English name, Jordan, every single time I've applied for something, I've got it. I've always used my English name and I completely disregard my African name.
I received a lot more covert racism than overt racism, so I ended up going to 2 primary schools, and the first one I left after about a year and a half simply because of the racist abuse I received. But then I had an incident with a kid and he came up and he just had this black colouring pencil. She's like, "Oh, James, this you." Secondary school, and it was a lot more the microaggressions. "Oh, James, you're black, you should know when a rap song comes on." "Oh, James, where is he?" When the lights turned out, everyone wanting to touch your hair, and you have 5 people putting their hands through your hair, like, "Oh, can I touch it?" But then not even asking. Frustrating because you didn't want to get vexed, because you didn't want to be seen as another angry black person.
A group of people, including myself included, were on this elevator. Me and this white lady were the last people in the elevator. I noticed obviously the sort of fake-ish smile, but then I also noticed the tightening of the firm grip of her low back that she had as the elevator ride continued, and I could tell that she was clearly feeling uncomfortable with my presence.
A teammate of mine decided it was alright for him to say the N-word in a song, and funny enough, when I spoke up about it, some of my other teammates told me I was overreacting for some odd reason.
From obviously the monkey noises you get from playing in games, then covert experiences would essentially just be, well, actually, you're not allowed to come into this particular club. Oh, why not? Well, you're not allowed to wear them trainers in, but then, the others can go in because,
People in my school would just grab mad and be like, "Oh, look, my skin looks like yours." They'd start doing like some clicking language that, first of all, I'm Congolese, I don't speak any sort of click, like, so that's really ignorant and that's really stupid of you because you didn't do your research clearly. So going straight back from primary school, I'd get stuff like, oh, my nose looks like a squished strawberry, and obviously the typical turn off the lights and it'd be like, oh my days, where's Sylvia gone? Ha ha ha. Not funny.
When I moved here, I clocked onto racial inequality, but the main one to me was when I was applying for jobs, and I literally could not leave my normal name as Toluwalashe Asolo. I would have to change it to Lash.
When I wanted to go play with my friend, he was white obviously, in a park, I remember his sister locking me and my other black friends out of the park, letting him in and saying, you can't play with him, you're black.
I was 9 years old. Yeah.
The first time I realised racism affected me was when I was in primary school.
I've not been allowed to play with certain friends during my primary schools because of the colour of my skin.
When I was younger, first came to Scotland, fresh off the boat, I was like 6 years old. I was the first black kid in that year group. Just being excluded, not being sat next to at lunchtime, finding it hard to make friends because people just didn't want to associate with me so much in that aspect.
It's always been the thing of you have to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard. You literally have to do shift after shift just to be seen as equal as your white counterpart.
I had gone to London to represent my university in an engineering competition alongside 2 of my course mates who happened to be white. My course mates and I walked around talking to engineers or trying to talk to engineers, and I couldn't help but notice that in every conversation I was flat out ignored. It did not matter how many times I tried to jump in. It did not matter if I knew more than my course mates. It did not matter how smart I sounded. I was flat out ignored time and time and time again. And yeah, I was the only black person.
I've realized since young, like, you know, seeing the way, like, my peers were treated in comparison to me, like, seeing the way, like, people made it, you know, got into different schools easier. It's been a thing that I've seen, like, I've experienced, obviously, since growing up.
I was in primary school and I was just playing, you know, minding my business. And one of the boys in my class had said to me, "Sillet bang in the dirt is gone." And I was like, "Why did you say that?" And he said, "Because you're black." And I was like, okay. I went home, told my mum about it, and she told me it happens, just to forget it.
When I was 6 years old, I was outright called the N-word by an elderly woman on the bus. It's one of my earliest memories, well before I came to the UK.
I got to that point in my life when my parents had to sit down and talk to me about how you have to work twice as hard to, you know, either get just one foot in the door and, you know, just always having to do the most for even the tiniest bit of recognition whilst your white peers excel doing basically the bare minimum. I feel like that's when I knew, when they had to sit down and talk to me about that. Like, you can't slack, you can't be mediocre, you have to be amazing, and that's it.
Second instance would probably be the killing of Trayvon Martin. I was in Florida when that happened, and that was the first time I understood that being a young black person, you are looked at in a certain light as a threat at all times, and you have to carry yourself in a different way than your white friends, or else you put your life at risk, to be honest.
3 years ago, actually, we were at some restaurant in Shoreditch Box Park. So we ordered drinks and everything, and the lady brought it to our table. She just got angry and infuriated for some reason. She brought the drink and then she just chucked it on my brother. You know, walked away and started cussing us, you know, saying the N-word, you know, calling us all types of names, you know, calling us like black pigs and everything. And I was just like, bro, like, it was honestly very saddening and very scary at the same time.
3 days into when I moved to the UK for uni, and I was literally told by an old guy in a wheelchair when he had bumped into me, and he literally said, "Go back to your country, nigga." I feel like the worst part of it was I was scared to react or to say anything because 1, he's old, 1, 2, he's white, 3, he's a man, and 4, he's in a wheelchair. I feel like all the odds were against me and I literally could not respond.
It's been 2 or 3 times now from the age of 16 to 20 years old on the football pitch. I've been called a black a nigger, a negro, I've been called a village man, I've been called a looky man. It's got to the point where sometimes I just brush it off because I'm so used to it.
This art teacher, she must have seen my Oyster card, and she was like, "Oh, you look nice and mixed race in this picture, but you're much darker in person. What happened?" And she said this around a bunch of teachers. I don't know if she was trying to get a laugh at.
I was physically assaulted by a white boy who used to go to my secondary school, but at the time went to a boxing college. It was reported to the police. However, the police decided that his punishment was only to go to anger management classes.
A man asked me for some money and I didn't have any cash or coins on me. I only had my card. So I told him I'm sorry. He proceeded to follow me and was shouting things like nigger bitch and just yelling profanity at me, and nobody did anything.
My first job, some City fans at the Crystal Palace football stadium swearing at us, calling us the N-word. It was that bad. Like, they tried to jump over the till as well, so we had to close the bar.
In high school, when a girl in my year just turned around and called me a black I don't really like that word, but yeah, she turned around and called me a black and she got away with it. She didn't get reprimanded or anything. She basically slapped me in the face with that, and it really hurt, especially knowing that she didn't get in trouble for it or anything. She got away with it. In high school was when I was the most fragile, because it took a lot to be able to love like being black and, you know, my black skin and stuff like that, especially being a black girl. Like, you get it basically from all angles, so it really affected my mental health, because most times I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought people wouldn't like me, like, you know, I didn't like my hair. It was a big ordeal. Like, it took a lot for me to get to where I am today.
Like, having to sugarcoat the way you want to respond to certain things because of the stereotype that have been put on you based off of what you cannot control. It is a lot, and I feel like people tend to play these things down or paint it as the angry black woman, and it's honestly very frustrating not being given equal opportunities and having to work twice as hard as other people. It's a lot.
A sense of paranoia. I'm always hyper conscious of how I'm being portrayed and how my emotions or passion can be perceived as aggression, which often holds me back from expressing how I really feel.
Racism has had detrimental effects on my mental health. When I was younger, I used to hate the way that I looked, and I wanted to change it by any means necessary.
If anything, I'd say it's caused fear, in the sense that, like, you know, there's certain places, you know, you can't go to purely because you're black. You know, certain times you can't be about, you know, you can't hang around with a group of so many black friends because you're black. A lot of fear, because like the judges, the police, the system was not going to be fair to you because you are black.
Mental health is a taboo subject within the black community, and people don't really want to talk about it sometimes. Them telling you, no, you can't be. You know, that doesn't happen in our family, that doesn't happen here. It's a topic that needs to be talked about, and it's incredibly difficult to get other people to talk about it because, again, it's such a taboo subject.
I think the peak of it was when I was in year 8, and then I came back home and spoke to my parents. It's like, simply, I don't want to be black anymore. I hate it. And kind of when I deep it now, it's like my very existence as a human being didn't want anymore because of the colour of my skin.
Luckily for me, and I honestly thank God every single day, it has not affected my mental health that badly. And that's honestly because of the way my parents raised me and the siblings that I have, because they never ever allowed me to let any racist comments or any comments about my skin or anything like that affect me. So I was pretty like thick-skinned, and I feel like I still am thick-skinned. I learned to embrace my beauty, I learned to embrace my hair, I learned to embrace my culture, and this was all down to my siblings and my parents.
Always made me feel like I can't show signs of weakness. Either portray strength even when internally I don't feel completely okay. Being black has always let me know that the second I step out the door, I have to be more aware of how I dress, walk, how I introduce myself, and it's made me realize that the expression on my face can be a detriment to the encounters I have with people.
Growing up black was having your paranoia level on 100 at all times, because mistaken identity happens a bit too often with the police. Not being able to have an Afro comb in your pocket walking down the street because they might think it's a weapon of some sort. Not being able to put your hood up because you might look like a thug.
I think you definitely develop a tough skin. Mentally, you just naturally learn how to suppress and block things out. That is a result of multiple experiences of trauma throughout your years, and it's not necessarily a good thing, because you learn to suppress and not really talk about your feelings. Or
a vivid memory that I will never forget is in primary school, where a white kid came up to me and said I looked dirty. From that day, for about 2 or 3 years, I used to scrub my skin so hard every time I had a shower. I used to scrub my skin with the hard parts of a sponge at night before I went to bed. For me to even hate the skin that I was born in so much that I'm willing to try and basically tear it off my face. Now looking back at it, I don't wish that on anyone.
change.
Personally, I want change.
I want to have an open, honest conversation and to drive real, meaningful and lasting change.
Accountability.
To survive, for one, to be treated as equals, and most definitely reparations.
I want change, and I want peace for the rest of us so that we can finally live comfortably in our black skin.
We want to be viewed as fair and equal, that is all. No special treatment, just simply you're part of society, you're valued, you're on an equal playing field. That's it.
It's just for people to listen. I just need people to be able to go out and educate themselves. So I just want change. I want people to be willing to listen, and I want people to be willing to change their ways and speak to their family and speak to their friends and let them know that racism is wrong.
Putting it within the curriculum in schools and making sure that it's something talked about more, because especially in the UK, that it's brushed under the carpet. Yeah, I think it's something that should be pushed within the curriculum. I think people should have the option to learn it if they want to. So yeah, that's a result that I would like to see from all of this.
A removal of this ignorance that exists within people that are in the black community. A removal of this mindset that just because you have black friends, it is okay for you to do so and so. There's this deep connection between almost every black person that suffers pain where we feel like that could happen to us as well.
What I want is equality and justice. I want a world where the same laws that apply to white people apply to black people. I want for us to actually be seen as equals and not having to work twice as hard to even be considered for anything. I want us to not just be seen as aesthetic, and I want this to not just end as Black Lives Matter hashtag, but I want people to actually practice this in real life. And I want to be able to ask for the basic necessities like respect and not be accused of asking for too much.
Is that kids of my generation and adults of the generation we're in now can start teaching their kids that you shouldn't be treated differently based on the colour of your skin, and then for them kids to teach their kids and their kids to teach their kids, and it becomes a chain. That's the only way I feel like this is going to change. I don't see it changing anytime soon, but step by step, hopefully we could get there in the end.
I think I want people to understand that this Black Lives Matter and the issues against black people is not just a today trend, it's not just a tomorrow trend, it's our lifestyle, it's our life. And what we're fighting for is for my nephews, it's for my children, it's for my children's children, it's for my friends' children, it's for every black person. Who are you to tell me that I'm not good enough just because my skin is darker than yours? That makes no sense to me. So I want people to understand the privilege that they have. I want them to appreciate the privilege that they have, and I want them to utilize the privilege that they have. So yeah, be the change that you want to see.